Okay, everyone, here comes another bombshell. You might not like the truth, but here it is. I'm Tina Olivero with Guardians of Recovery, and I'm here to let you know that our kids are being targeted at the exact moment that they are most vulnerable, their teenage years. In our schools, in our communities, our kids are told that if you're having any troubles at home, well, you can always come to us. We'll be here to help you. Think about that. What teenager doesn't have friction at home? By their very nature of being a teen, they are testing limits, flexing independence, challenging rules. That's normal. That's healthy, and that should never be taken away between a family and their child's dynamic as they proceed through their teen years. But predators, they know this, and they exploit this. And they don't offer guidance to strengthen families. There's no, family reconciliation programs. Quite the opposite. They offer your teenager an exit strategy. They're breaking the bond between parents and children. They are encouraging kids to leave safe homes. They are cutting parents out of the circle of care of their kids, their teens, with privacy laws that give them total control over your child's life without your knowledge. This is wrong. And here's the kicker. There is massive money in this whole initiative. $200, $120, $150 per night, per child is what our taxpayers' dollars are spending to keep kids, teens, living out of parents' homes even when they have safe homes. Some operators run 70 to 80 of these houses, add up the money, and luring vulnerable kids becomes a multi-million-dollar business. It's happening right here in St. John's Cross Province. And what covers all of this? Harm reduction. Low barrier shelters. That's what the sticker has on it. And suddenly, predatory practices are normalized, unquestioned, and even praised. Look how great they're doing, saving all these kids, taking them out of safe homes, putting them in low barrier shelters. What does low barrier shelter mean to a person who, is looking to smoke dope and live on their own and be independent? Sounds like a great deal. Yeah, until they get out there. And, luring vulnerable kids leads to them making money and kids dying. And that's what happened to my son, Ben. And the whole harm reduction, low barrier phrases is highly, highly, highly manipulative. They use soft, friendly language, like, we'll show you, the whole new way that you can live. It sounds so innocent. It sounds so perfect. No rules. Don't even have to go to school. But the truth is devastating. Kids as young as 16, and in the case of my son, Ben, 15, are encouraged to leave safe homes in schools by invitations to get emancipated. And once they're in the system, they're placed in low barrier shelters disguised as safe places, but they're actually drug houses. The places where overdoses happen, suicides happen, rapes happen, murders happen. The kids are burning down the houses. This is insane. They are introduced to stronger, deadlier drugs in those places. My son had cannabis use disorder. That was his addiction. That was his drug of choice. But in these places, no, it wasn't just weed. It was shatter. It was coke. It was crack. It was fentanyl. It was every other pill under the book. And that's what these houses are made up of. Kids who are doing drugs on premises, selling drugs from premises, and many of them are given really, really strong drugs so that they can be used as drug mules to sell drugs for the dealers. That's exactly what happened to my son, Ben. And countless others never make it out of their life. When Ben died, there was like 6 other people in the system who died all around the same time from a very, very bad batch of drugs. But Ben was living on the premises of a low barrier shelter, doing drugs there, selling drugs from there, and never ever had a bag checked. And this is all enabled. Meanwhile, these teens experiment with super, super strong weed, which is out there right now, and the weed production plants here are trying to make it stronger and stronger to the point where we have, not like back in the day where we had 3, 4, 5% THC. Now it's 25, 35, make it stronger, make it sell more. And we even have 95% THC in the vapes that are out there. That's crazy. It's blowing kids' brains out. We have 4 times more psychosis now since legalization of weed than we had prior to that. A lot of the weed is genetically modified weed, and it's hijacking and permanently damaging the brains of our adolescents. 1 in 5, 1 in 6 kids will get cannabis use disorder, and their lives could be destroyed. And the cruelest part, if your child wants treatment or rehab, they have to wait to get into those programs. And then when they do get in there, finally, like in the case of Ben, I took him to rehab right away as soon as he showed signs of problems. Then he learned about the whole entire system, how to take advantage of it, how to get emancipated, how to live on his own, how to make sure that everything was paid for him. He got all the details on not just being invited in school to live in these shelters, but once he got to rehab, he got the full down on exactly how he can take advantage of the system and do that. Most of the time, it means, saying you're having trouble at home, you have problems with your parents, and instead of talking to the parents are kept out entirely with the privacy law. Think about that. What the heck is going on? Why is that happening? Insane. But if you want a drug kit, if you want a crack pipe, if you want, here's your instructions, you're a safe supply drug prescription from the doctor, hand it out instantly, no questions asked. This is not harm reduction. This is harm production, stealing our teens. We are producing overdoses. We are producing broken families like mine. We are producing death for all of these kids. This isn't an accident. This is a business model. Since 2016, more than 52,000 Canadians have died from toxic drugs. Most of them, get this, young men in their teens and 20s. Do you really believe that all of that is bad parenting? Or is it a result of a billion-dollar system that profits off addiction, lures kids away from their families, and normalizes drug use under the banner of progress, harm reduction, low barrier shelters, meet people where they're at? No, this is not compassion. This is not safety. This is not progressive. This is grooming, indoctrination, predatory. No one should ever come into a school and tantalize your children with a new place to live with no rules where they can do whatever they want. It's premeditated, aiding and abetting addiction and often overdose and death, hidden under the language of care and compassion. That is so manipulative. They have broken the bond between parent and child, turned one against the other. They have turned adolescence into a business opportunity. That is wrong. Think about that. How can we possibly let this happen? Grooming, indoctrination, predatory things happening, not just with my son and my family, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. The number of low barrier shelters out there, low barrier houses out there, so taking care of youth is mind-blowing. Millions and millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money is going to this. So they call it harm reduction, they call it compassionate low barrier care, they call it meeting people where they're at, but they never tell the parents what's actually going on with their child. They keep them out of it. Nothing could be further than the truth. They let a young man, age 15, start using their services, and within 5 years, he's dead, and that is a common story. That is not progressive. That is not protection. That is not supporting our youth. This is harm production. Drug dens disguised as shelters where kids have no accountability, no responsibility. They drop out of school. They can use drugs there. Money-making machines run by people with no regard for human life. Because if they did, they would stop doing this. And it's become the norm. Teens are adventurous kids, curious kids. They see freedom and a chance to experiment, to escape rules. You can bet your bottom dollar they're going to take it. It all sounds fun until people start dying, until they contract Hep C, until they overdose. And that becomes a normal thing that they're living with. We need to wake up. We need to tell the truth. We need to demand recovery-focused solutions, not addiction for profit schemes disguised as progress called low-barrier shelters. The future of our children and our country depends on you understanding this money-making machine. If people are getting $120, $150, $200 per night per person, there is something seriously wrong that your tax dollars are going to pay for that. It's not just with youth, it's happening with adults as well. Check out every single low barrier shelter. We're going to start to ATIP those shelters and tell you exactly how much money they are making and how much your taxpayers' dollars are spending on all of this. We're rising up. We want to be like Alberta, recovery focused. They have actually reduced overdoses by 34% and reduced crime by 9% year over year because all roads lead to recovery. On-demand detox, things that make sense. On-demand rehab, when I'm ready to go, I'm going. Long-term sober living homes, at least 2 years so their brain can recover from those substances. And stopping the drugs from coming into the province, having drug-sniffing canines at every port of entry. That's what we're asking for. And we are rallying this September 11th from 12 to 2. All across the province, we have people in Happy Valley Goose Bay, Corner Brook, Central, down in Placentia. We have groups all across the province in St. John's at Confederation Building where we've had enough. We're standing up for a recovery first province and stop wasting people's money on taxpayers' money on things like harm reduction and low barrier shelters that clearly are not working. Our overdoses are going up, our crime is rising and it's going skyrocketing. There's always shelters in place. There's trap houses on every corner in every community, disturbing the peace, causing all kinds of issues. There's needles everywhere. It's not working. Let's just get frank, get truthful, and accept that as a reality. So if it's not working, change it. If we have a government in place that is protecting the current system, and there are people in the Department of Health that say, you just have to accept the fact that we're harm reduction. No, we don't accept that fact. We are the people. The government works for the people. The people who are working for the government are public servants. Got it backwards. We want the people, we want recovery. Over and out. Oh, final note. When you are looking at the future and the future that you want for your kids and your grandkids, ask yourself, if I don't act now, how bad is it going to be in the future? This is your chance to volunteer. It's your chance to stand up for the rally. It's your chance with an election coming up to challenge the government and ask them all the right questions. Do you believe that we should be recovery focused first, or are you good with the harm reduction model we're in? They avoid that question like the plague because they're afraid it's going to cost them votes, because the majority of people have been talked into harm reduction. Yet we're all sitting in the, in the actual result of the harm reduction low barrier system. And it correlates directly we've had harm reduction, low barrier, and overdoses and crime are skyrocketing. A plus B equals C. So ask yourself, ask your leaders, what if they get in, what is the future that they're going to create? And ask yourself, what can I do today that is going to change the trajectory of our province to keep Newfoundland and Labrador safe, to keep our kids safe, and if they do get into trouble, that we have a recovery system that actually works, not enables them. I'm Tina Olivero, Guardians of Recovery. I hope this makes sense. If you have any other information where finances are being misused or mismanaged to enable addiction, please let us know. We will A-tip the information and we'll get it out there. Over and out.